Welcome back to another episode of Home Built by Howard. This episode, we're going to get all the holes in the floor fixed up. So if you're new here, this is my 1968 Triumph TR6 that I'm stuffing all the electronics and powertrain from a BMW 135 into. Like, subscribe, and notify, all that sort of stuff. It comes in really handy, helps with the episode. Last episode, we welded the last of the frame together and got the car up onto stands and ready to go. Also, if you're new, this episode, I'm not sponsored except by myself. So take a look at Hornetic. I think I'm going to put a link up there. It just helps support some of the stuff that I'm doing here. Let's get going. So we have a ton of holes here. Like I said, last episode, it seriously looks like somebody held the carpeting down using a nail gun, because this is just ridiculous. I circled everything, or almost everything, that I'm going to replace. Now, under the driver's foot and the passenger's foot is some pretty big stuff. It's where you expect there to be some major rust from, snow and slush and water just running off your heel and sitting there. So I'm going to have to cut those panels out and patch them. Let's get all of this ground down so that we can, see what just needs a bit of spot welding and grinding, and what actually needs to be cut out and repaired. Well, now that I've got that done, I think what I'm going to do is cut out the floor here and get a piece made for that. That's probably the best thing to do now. A piece of cardboard to mark out the template here, as well as the where I'm going to do some bending so that it stiffens itself up. So just cut this out of cardboard, and then what I will do is template it onto some metal and cut that out of metal as well. So I find these shears work really well because they don't wrinkle the edges, so that's why I use those. So you can sort of see me here messing around. I left that tab long because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to fill the whole side gap with it, but this is just trying to get it into place and see what I need to trim to make this work. Right, so what I've done is I've laid out the lines here, and I got this really small bead roller unit here. Is more than enough for what I need to be able to do. It's not super huge, but doesn't matter. I can get into what I need here. Now what I've done is, if you notice, I made two lines, right? Those are the outside, and this has to go down. So what I've done, and the reason I've done that, is I'm going to start at this end and go this way, and I see the line, and it lines up with the top one. Then I spin it around, and I go here, there, and it lines up with the top one, which pushes it down. So, or did I get that backwards? I got that backwards. No, it's backwards. All right, so I go, this one goes forward that way, then I spin it around, and I go the other one, and that'll push it down. Anyway, let's just roll that out, and you can see how it works. Right, so something that I need to do, I bent this, but then I need to straighten this or bend this again here. But I need my bead roll to stop here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of metal underneath it and whack on it to flatten these back out and put a crease there that matches. So I'm not going to bother putting a radius. Maybe I will, but let's do that. Well, after a whole lot of adjustments and sanding and et cetera, I got this piece into place. I still have to bend up the tab there, but it now fits all the way around, and it's nice and flush. And my line's a little bit off right here, but you know what? It's under carpet, and nobody will ever see it. And to be quite honest, by I don't know, half an hour from now, I'll have forgotten all about it, as is my memory. So I'll call that completed. Just get a look here from this side. So yeah, that's done. Now it needs to be welded in. Yeah, I kind of wish it was that easy, but I forgot to turn on the camera. So anyway, so with the passenger side, this front edge here that was right up against the corner of the footwell there, there was rust in there, and it is actually it's actually pinched here, right? So if I look underneath, it's hard to see, but it goes underneath this this lip here. So what I'm going to do is I removed it, and I'm going to grind it. Geez, I can't, not even looking. I'm going to grind away the extra layer that's there, and just replace that all the way underneath. I'm also getting rid of some of this in the corner here, just because I don't need it. So I'm going to cut it away and see if I can't get this to just be flat like the other side. Yeah, so going to keep going on this. Right, well, I cut that piece and got it into place there. As you can see, it's a bit, it's a longer, so I'll be able to actually spot weld that if I can get my spot welder in there. But that'll make that a lot easier, and then we can just weld around, and I'll do what I did over here. I'll just tack it every once in a while just to hold it in place, and that way I can keep on keeping on. There's a lot of stuff that I need to do. Even like things like this, I just didn't get in there and weld that. So, I'll do that. But there's a lot of small pieces that I need to make to seal up the interior of the car, where my frame needed gussets. I'll have to put in a box section on both sides, as well as in the back here, just to get the cabin all sealed up. But right now what I want to do is get the floor all just get all the holes filled in the floor. I still have to figure out what I'm going to do here. This section. I know that I'm going to cut this away. I need to for the seat rail. I marked on the other side. You can see the white right there. That needs to be cut away so that the seat rail could go in, and I'll have to do the same on this side. But how I'm going to shape that around and get it to fit is something I've got to still think about. So yeah, well, let's going to keep moving forward here. All right, so next is to cut out these circles to fill in that hole and that hole. So let's get cutting and get them in there. All right, so this is another day, another shirt, another day. So filling all those holes, I had to make all of these little tiny circles. Let me tell you, this was a pain in the butt. The big ones, not so bad. Not such a bad thing, but these things, like seriously, to fill those round holes that normally have grommets in them, pain in the butt. But I've made pretty much all the ones that I need. So now, along with, let me show you. I'll show you. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I got all these little holes here. I got some larger ones up in the front corner there, and over back in here, and I found a few more back in there. So that's done. But also I've cut away where the old seat used to mount to the floor, because as I showed you, the metal was all either stress cracked and broken, or it has these pieces that are welded to the bottom that capture the nut and thicken the plate a little bit, but then water sits there and it rusts. So I didn't want to just leave them there, to have a place for rust to grow. So I cut those out, and we need to make little patch panels to fit those now. So I'm going to make those patch panels, and then what we're going to do is we're going to weld all the stuff that we made into place. Okay, we got all that done. Let me just spin this around and show you. There it is. Let me just go to a widescreen. So we got all of those made up. We have all of the little circles made up. We've got the passenger, driver, and passenger footwell. Now, the only thing that I still have to do is under here where it was where the original floor was spot welded, right up here between the frame. I'm going to have to lift this up so I can get in there with the grinder, because I wasn't able to delaminate it there, and there's no way to get the spot weld. It's a pain in the ass. So so let's take this piece out, and let's just get that done so that we can get onto some welding here. So I just wanted to show you these, and I don't know if you don't have a set of these. They're for your sockets, and you can have 3 different sockets on it, and they're just really easy to use. And I have them in 1/4 inch and 3/8. But talk about easy. You just pop 3 sockets on, and they're right there. You never have to be pulling shit apart and stuff. And once you get going on these, they just have centrifugal force and spin, and you can just get stuff on really quickly. Just thought you might like to see these. These ones are by a company called ASV. You see them in dirt biking, I guess, a lot. But if you don't have a set, grab a set for your toolbox. They're really handy. That's probably not good for TIG welding. I might have dipped the tungsten there. Well, I got most of it. Well, I got a bunch of it actually welded in, filled a bunch of the holes that are, you know, that were holding the carpet down. These two front pieces I just tacked into place right now because they're a real pain to get at. It just, as you could have seen, it's just really uncomfortable to, be in there welding. And I think, I'll get to that later and do that. I started working on this side and I tacked the circle in there and started filling a couple holes. And yeah, so just more welding, getting all these holes patched up. Yeah. Okay, that was a lot of welding. Some of them are still just tacked into place, not fully welded out. As I said, I still have to do those front ones, and there's quite a few, little pieces that need to be added, as well as I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the seat thing here. The other side I cut away quite a bit, and I think I might need to do the same here. But yeah, so it's coming along. So we're just going to keep going with this. Okay, so I've been doing a lot of, obviously welding here and getting this floor in place, but it's a real pain to get in here. Like I've got these braces on the doors, to keep it from collapsing, which it won't at this point. I've taken the braces off both sides, as you saw, and the frame is supporting it. Now, I want to get this back on the rotisserie because what I'd like to do is, although I've welded it on this side here, I want to go on the underside and give it a cleaning and just make sure that the weld is good from the underside. As well as it's going to be a lot easier to do than, getting up underneath here. This here is a nightmare to get into. And if I can weld that from the underside, that's just going to be a lot easier. I also have some other frame stuff that I want to do. So let me spin this around and I'll talk to you about that. So I have a very heavy frame that runs through this section here and goes, literally runs from the front of the car straight to the back. Okay. But what I've also done is I have a frame that comes off of that and follows the transmission tunnel and provides some seat support. Now, I have a seat support that's got to go here and another one that's got to go here. And my frame rail is to the inside of that it's about here. Okay, so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to run a diagonal piece right through here, like a 1x2, right up against the inner sill under the car. And then I'm going to run a 1x2 all the way along here, right? And all the way to the front and then run diagonally that way back to the frame. That way I'll have something really solid to weld to. Now, as you remember, I have these screw pieces here. These are just welded tabs that are welded on, and they go to the original body mount locations. Now, since I am not going to be bolting this body on, I'm going to be welding it on, I don't really need those. So I can remove those and I can cut away the supports that are underneath, because I want to put something a little more substantial there. Now, these front ones I might keep because that's where my roll cage is going to go. So it makes sense to have it there because it creates a nice big plate and it's attached to that solid, 2x3 120 wall frame that's there. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking is, come out to the thing, come across the sill, and then go back to the frame. Now, the other thing that I need to do is I need to add to the back of this frame. I have to drop it down and bring it back to where the rear bumper goes, right? So what I'm probably going to do is grab some of that metal that I've got and I'm going to tack it in place. That way I can get the body and frame back onto the rotisserie. Okay, so I started to measure out the back there, and I got a couple measurements, and just came to the realization it's going to be a lot easier to accomplish this with the body off the frame. I have some other frame stuff that I want to get done, so that's what I'm going to do now is yank the body back off the frame, get it up out of the way so that I can get those back legs put into place. And hopefully that'll be the last time the body's got to come off. Yeah, let's do that. Now, I used to do a lot of woodworking, so I have a load of Jorgensen clamps. If you don't have any for metalworking, they really come in handy for things like this where, you have this weird offset, right? And you need to clamp two pieces of metal together, and it's just floating. And anyways, it makes it really easy because you clamp you make it parallel so that it's even and almost really snug. And then you clamp the back really tight. You position your front piece, and then you just tighten the front, give the back a little, snug up again, and it stays in place and it holds it. And then you can, you can tap it into place up or down. If there's, an offset to the side or something, you can put a little shim in there, etc. But these wood clamps do a really good job of that. The only challenge is not setting them on fire. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to try to do that. Well, I got these welded into place here, as you can see, and I put little end caps over top of the ends there and just gave it a bit of a grinding. But those are now done, and the where am I? Here I am. The back of this is going to fit over. It's going to fit up against this here, which is the main support. So it'll butt right up against that, and I'll be able to maybe weld it against there and then decide how I'm going to go forward from there. But at least that is one of the, the really difficult things to put into place when the body's on the car. I still want to do the diagonals off of here to the sill, so that I can just weld right to the sill, and then I can delete these. But I'm going to have to put the body back on the car, of course, in order to cut away, or to at least see what I need to cut away from these triangular supports here, because these supports are the ones that have the bolts that hold the body down. But if I don't need those, then, because I'm not gonna bolt it down anymore, then, I can just remove them. But I'm gonna have to do that with the body on the chassis. So, I'm thinking that I still have a little bit to weld. Like I've got a little piece in here. It's hard to see. Is it going to focus? Yeah, you can sort of see there's a hole there. I need to weld that, and on the other side, just to fill it, I filled in right there where it was, and over here has been filled in. And I forgot to do that when we were welding the whole frame up. So that's something else that I've got to do. So maybe what I'll do is I'm just going to get those welded into place and just be done with that, and get that body back on the car. Well, we got the body back on the frame, and these pieces fit just like a glove. Look at that, eh? That was like just nice, and they're nice and snug up against the top. I did a little bit of a cutout here in it, as you saw, because this is where the rear, this rear part goes. This one here. And it's a fair bit bigger. So I measured and gave myself some clearance there, and I still have to put a little cap, a little cap on the end. But both of those, they seem to fit really nice. The body's sitting right down tight up against it. Haven't checked this side yet. Let's check together. I might be an idiot. Oh no, yeah, fits nice. All right, good. I'm glad. And very little space at the top, which is good. Yeah, so let's call that body back on, and here we are. That's all the time I've got for this week. We got the floor all patched up. There's still some finish welding to do on it. There's still a lot of bits and pieces, but the holes in the floor are done. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you next week.